And you know it's going to be a good movie when it starts with a child's death.
Right. Setting the whole tone.
You know, Face Off starts with a child's death. You know you're in for something here.
Yeah.
My God.
I just want to, like Christian Bale, like he started hot.
Yeah.
Straight from the beginning.
Literally, because his world was burning.
And I know a lot of look. I love the movie. I really did. I know it wasn't perfect. I would have liked to see more Christian Bale.
Yeah,
like maybe 1 or 2 more scenes. The movie was 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's short for a Marvel movie.
It
said
was.
that there was a lot of stuff that was cut out.
Well, of course there was.
Yeah.
That's why it's a 2-hour movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, maybe another scene with Bale. Maybe even another scene with Natalie Portman, because we go from her, like, we don't even see how she even learned how to use the hammer.
Right.
Right.
She just uses it.
It started forming.
Yeah, like it starts forming. The next thing you see it, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm an expert with this hammer," and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool."
Well, like even in like, you know, photos of sets that got leaked and stuff, there was a photo of her on wires, like in the air.
Right.
Oh, is that how they do it?
What?
I'm kidding. Go on.
So, like, obviously, you know, the hammer would have busted out, and I would have liked to see her grab it, and then that first transformation, you know.
Yeah,
because the audience knows.
We didn't even get that.
The audience, it's like we saw the trailer. We know what's going to happen here. Like,
right. But like,
Thor's the only one that's in the, you know, that has no clue what's going on until he sees her.
I will say to Eric's point, like, how were we supposed to figure out that, you know, as soon as the shards of the hammer, you know, got together, that turned her into Thor? You know, how was it? I didn't know that was supposed to happen, but apparently we're just supposed to know.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, and those are valid criticisms, but what I really love about this movie is, just like Ragnarok, how funny it is.
Right. Yeah. No, it's like a lot of it's very lighthearted, so that even when there are sad parts, you know, there's something that kind of offsets it pretty soon, you know.
I loved Korg's intro for Thor.
Oh, it's great.
He lost his mom. He lost his dad. He lost his brother. He lost his brother again and again.
Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah.
And then Thor with the Guardians, like the 15 minutes of that was great. Like, and I was like, couldn't we have seen this movie too?
Right.
Like Thor with the Guardians.
Yeah.
Well,
and there was even like there was a comic run called As Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago. So I mean, you know, and like Thor's Ravager outfit was great because there was a comic run called Thor Thunderstrike, and he basically had that outfit, just like the shirt under the jacket vest thing was different, but even like the boots were the same, you know.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Thought it was great.
Yeah. I like when he saved that planet and then he destroyed all their shit, and the king was like, God of disaster.
Yeah. Like for a moment, I was like, is this like the alien version of Christopher Walken? Because he was kind of talking like him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I love the alien priest. The priest is like, or no, Thor's like, I'm sorry about your temple. The priest is like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
No, please.
It's like, no, please don't talk about it.
And then he gives Thor those 2 giant screaming goats, and
yeah.
I never didn't laugh every time the goat screamed throughout the whole movie.
I know.
My ass off.
Even a fucking serious scene when the goats
every single time they screamed. I fucking laughed.
And even the guys like no take backs.
Yeah. Also, it's funny how New Asgard is now a tourist destination.
For sure.
King Valkyrie's doing Old Spice commercials. And they even have an ice cream store called Infinity Cones.
Yes.
It has the gauntlet holding an ice cream cone.
It was really good.
I saw so many memes like, yeah, you know that guy who committed genocide? You know, now we eat ice cream there.
Right.
Like if
and not to mention killed half of the Asgardians.
Yeah.
So now go have ice cream.
Right.
Yeah.
My friend sent me a meme. Remember like in Ragnarok where Hela's like going through the Odin's treasury and pushes over the gauntlets like fake.
Yeah.
Well, they replaced that with like the Infinity Cones thing.
Oh my god, the scene of the play.
The play.
Oh, the play.
It's amazing.
The
We
fucking
got-
play.
Melissa
Matt-
McCarthy.
we got Matt Damon back as actor reprising his role of actor Loki.
Yes.
Melissa McCarthy was Hela. Luke Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth's brother, was actor Thor.
Yes.
And then I didn't know this till I looked it up. Sam Neill from Jurassic
Yeah.
Park was Odin.
Right.
The part where he's like, "Oh, I'm disappearing. Oh," and then he crawls away. He just crawls away.
It's like, oh no, no.
And then Hela shows up, and they're like, "Bifrost!"
And scene.
It's so great.
Yeah.
I will say we did kind of skim over after Christian Bale died how he got his powers. We kind of skimmed over that. He got I guess it was the sword that
The
was
Necro
calling
sword.
him. The Necro sword was calling him
Yes.
into that
Right.
Garden of Eden,
Yeah.
and then he ended up meeting a god, and the god was like so
A piece of shit.
Just the
lackadaisical.
biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, like, oh, people prayed to me. It's like, oh, but God, there is no more people to pray to you.
There's nothing
Yeah.
for you.
There's no eternal reward.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
he was such an asshole. So
Yeah.
then he picked up the Necro sword and killed him. That's kind of interesting.
Right.
You don't.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, you don't mess with Christian Bale. Come on, you should know this.
No.
He's Batman.
He's bad. But one of the things that I did see that Taika Waititi said leading up to this was
Yeah.
one of the things that they edited out of the movie was apparently a scream of Christian Bale's.
Right.
And that the scream was so like visceral and like just like so dark that they had to cut it out. Like I kind of want to hear what that was.
Are you sure they just didn't use it for the goats?
You sure it wasn't just audio when Christian Bale went crazy on the set of Terminator?
That would have been great.
No, that was probably a Disney. That was probably a Disney thing. Like, yeah, cut that scream out. That's too awful.
That's too dark.
Yeah.
Too dark. But like, you know, you think about Thor. Like, Taika Waititi made him such a great character because
Right.
Thor 1, he's so boring.
Mhm.
Thor 2, he's boring.
Even worse.
Even the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, he's so boring and unrelatable. Now he made him funny. He made him kind of dumb.
Right.
But the most relatable thing about Thor is like all the loss he's experienced in his life. He's lost his whole family, and now he
Yeah.
just gets attached to everyone. Like how he doesn't want to leave the Guardians.
Right. Yeah.
Like that whole joke where he's like, you know, he's like, that's why I keep everyone at arm's reach. And then he, you know, puts his arm out.
Yeah.
And he's
Oh,
like,
you're
getting,
too close.
You're getting too attached. Come on, move on. And take
Here,
this ship.
Take my
this
ship.
Yeah, he's
He
like,
says,
this
take
ship."
my ship.
Yeah. Take this ship as a party gift. He's like, you're giving me my own ship. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
Chris
you.
Hemsworth did say that this was his favorite Thor movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and I can see why.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a blast. Then Thor goes to save Sif, who lost an arm because she was battling Gore, and Gore
Oh
killed
my
like some
God.
giant monster god or whatever.
This
Yeah.
is so funny.
She's like, no, let me die. I want to go to Valhalla. And he's like, but you didn't die in battle. Maybe your arm is in Valhalla.
And she's like, okay, get me out of here.
Yeah. Then we get
So
the
funny.
Jane stuff. You know, we see her go through chemo. She
Yeah.
like was Jane Foster able to wield
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir because Thor told the hammer to always protect her?
That's what
That's what seems like they're going with. Yeah.
Because like Korg was like, that it was a promise, and then so
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, let's not underplay the fact that like Thor was treating Mjolnir like an ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
I
Right.
did appreciate that throughout
And
the episode.
Stormbreaker was like the current jealous girlfriend.
Mhm.
It would just like show up like,
The best is when he
Hey.
was talking to Mjolnir, and then like the axe is like creepily coming in like this, like just, it's like from behind.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good.
But I like how Jane used the hammer. I liked how it would break into like a bunch
Little
of
pieces. Yeah, that was really
and,
cool.
The hammer also makes her a blonde.
Yeah,
Like, she
right.
has blonde hair, like
True
yeah,
Asgardian.
True Asgardian. Their love montage was great. Like it started with love. They're doing all this stuff, and then they're arguing about like little shit. Like he's like, I was up all night. He's like, I don't have to stay up all night to clean this. There's 2 plates.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, slowly start drifting apart, and she's like, or he's like, yeah, you left me a letter, and then you left, and she's like, well, technically you left because and it's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
So yeah, Gore kidnaps the kids, but Heimdall's son was able to use his father's powers.
This is where we need the soundboard, because it was like, oh, it's Heimdall's son. Who are you?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was it? Because Heimdall's son was named Judy or something like that.
No,
and she's like, yeah. Well, she's like, or not she. He was like, I'm going with a different name, and it was like
Axel,
something like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
I like when Thor told all the people, he's like, we shall return with children, and we will feast, but not on the children. We don't do that anymore. Those are dark times, shameful times.
Yeah, I like how like Thor shows up to the battle, and he has like just kind of basic armor. Right. And then he sees Mjolnir, and then he sees Jane has it, and all of a sudden he like upgrades his armor like twice. It's like, oh, just here with my armor.
Oh, you're close. Like, I did that first.
He's like, yeah, I can do that too.
Then they go to the Golden Temple and
Omnipotent City. Yeah.
And Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, is a total douchebag.
A very Italian Zeus, I felt.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he had like a bowl of spaghetti there too. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
right.
It's me, Zeus.
Gabagool.
That big entry. And he's like, first, where are we going to hold this year's orgy?
Yes.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then they show the scene in the trailer where Zeus flicked too hard and Thor's naked. But what we didn't see in the trailer was that Thor has a back tattoo.
Like a whole back piece.
It's R.I.P. Loki, and it's got Loki's like helmet and everything.
Yeah. I think Mjolnir was on there too.
Very
amazing.
Funny.
Yeah.
So they break out. Zeus hits Korg with Thunderbolt, making Korg just a face now. Like you thought he was going to die, but he's just a face. So that was hilarious. At least Korg didn't die.
Right.
Zeus throws Thunderbolt at Thor, but Thor catches it and throws it through Zeus's chest.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was kind of sad. Like Korg was like falling apart. He's like, Thor, I'm perishing.
And then they get out of there. They call, Korg calls the goats, and they come screaming in to save them.
Yeah,
that was great. Then Thor visits the kids with the vision thing again, and he tells the kids he killed Zeus. He's like, well, you know what they say, never meet your heroes. And all the kids are like, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then I like Korg told the story of how his species has kids.
Yeah.
Like it's like 2 bros go in a volcano, hold hands or whatever. And
over the lava for a year.
Right. They very sneakily put this in there. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And Thor tells Jane he wants to be with her, but she tells him that she has cancer. But they do end up kissing, and Korg's Valkyrie's like, oh, they're not holding hands, and he's like, oh, yeah, but
yeah, like Valkyrie's like drunk.
Yeah, she's drunk, yeah,
wasted.
And Korg he's like, do you ever want to meet someone again? She's like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, is that because you lost your girlfriend in battle and you decided to use alcohol to drain out your feelings and push everyone away? She's like, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Way to hit the nail on the head there, buddy.
Yeah, especially when you are just ahead.
Yeah. Right.
I did like how they had the balls to do a black and white scene.
Right.
And it was
but just a hint of color in certain things. It was
like Sin City.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
I liked
really
it.
Like that. I like when Gore said, call the axe, and Thor's like, I'll call the axe when you call a dentist. That was
yeah.
And this was Christian Bale's best scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he was almost like the Joker in this scene.
I thought the same thing.
And it was like, as good of a Batman, Christian Bale, like, he also could play the Joker because that's how good of an actor he is.
Right, as he was calling the people in and out and talking to them through the little vines. It was really neat. Really neat. Very dark.
Right.
Very dark. And then Thor pleading his love to Jane in the hospital was sweet.
Yeah.
He's like, break a leg, and he's like, I'll break all of his legs.
Yeah. And like you kind of find out that like the more Jane uses the hammer, the weaker it's making her.
Yeah, it's killing her.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where it kind of set up like Thor, Thor's like, I want you to be healthy. You know, like, she's like, I just want adventure, I might die. I could die. I want to go out on my own terms.
It was her 10th
What would you rather do? Like slowly die of cancer or like be Thor for like, a couple weeks?
Sure.
So Thor shows up for the final battle. He gives the kids power to fight the shadow monsters. Was that because he had Zeus's thunderbolt?
Maybe.
Because when he gave him the power, it was yellow. It wasn't blue.
Right. I think it may have been because it was like Zeus's thing as well.
That was a cute little scene with the kids. Like that one little girl was like a ballerina, and she was like, and she like cut one of the monsters in half. Yeah. Another girl just had like their teddy bear like killing them.
Yeah, shooting like lasers out of the teddy bear eyes.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Thor was losing to Gore, so Jane shows up to save Thor's life because she was sensing it in her head as she was in the hospital.
Right.
And the two Thors break the Necro sword together, but unfortunately Gore makes it to eternity. And Thor convinces Gore to not wish for all gods to die, but instead to choose love and bring back his daughter.
Right. The way that they made eternity look was awesome.
Yeah. I didn't even know what that was.
No.
So that was new for me, but
it
looked cool. But like, it was like, okay, Thor, like you could tell Gore to bring back his daughter, but couldn't you just kill Gore right now and then ask eternity to save Jane's life? Maybe.
Sure.
Sure.
Maybe.
That wouldn't have fit the story though.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But no,
Natalie Portman didn't sign on for more movies, so
yeah. Did you notice in that hall where they were fighting, they had those statues of the gods, and one of them was the Watcher?
Really?
Yeah. And another one was Death.
The last fight scene?
Yeah. One of the statues was the Watcher, and another one was Death.
So, Thanos' girlfriend, Death?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
It's great.
That's pretty cool.
It's like when you see the Celestials at Omnipotent City.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was like just a quick little shot.
I kind of thought that the person that was in Eternity, or not person or whatever that structure was, I thought that was an Eternal.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't really know much about Eternity, but I didn't think so.
No.
So Jade, the whole movie, Jade's trying to figure out like a good catchphrase, eat my hammer, but she finally says, "Oh, I figured out my catchphrase," but she only tells Thor before she dies. The audience doesn't get to know what it is. That was a nice little moment. But ever since Infinity War and Endgame, it's like Marvel's new plan is to make us cry every movie.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Phase 4's been pretty dark.
Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Got all the big sads.
Right. Yeah. So then Gore tells Thor to protect his daughter, and he dies. Fortunately, Korg's body grows back, and he falls in love with a dude called Dwayne. Dwayne The Rock.
The Rock.
Oh,
that had to be that was no cool. That was totally on purpose, right?
For sure.
About that. That's awesome.
Falls in love
that was
with
amazing.
A rock named Dwayne.
Yeah, come on.
Amazing.
I know The Rock's got Black Adam in DC, but how did Marvel not get him?
Right.
To be something, like to be any superhero, supervillain.
Yeah.
Because Black Adam, it's DC, so it's most likely going to suck.
Right.
After that, Rock can move on and join Marvel, the MCU.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we go like into the future, and Thor's helping Gore's daughter get ready for what we think is going to be school.
Mhm.
Yeah, makes
But really
sense.
it was to kill some bad guys.
Yeah.
He's
And they're
he's
traveling-
Uncle Thor.
They're traveling in like a space RV. It reminded me of like Spaceballs.
Yeah, right. Pretty good.
Very nice.
Very, very cool ending. Very sweet.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about the post-credit scenes where
Absolutely.
Zeus is still alive. He had a great 30-second monologue about he's like, everyone used to worship us, now they worship these superheroes.
Yeah.
But they will learn to fear us again. Do you understand, my son? Hercules. And we see Hercules.
That was freaking cool. Apparently it's a guy from what's
Ted
that?
Lasso.
Ted Lasso, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I was kind of expecting it to be someone super famous, but
Right.
it was like,
No,
all right.
it's not.
Also
That's fresh
Hercules,
sometimes.
very Italian.
Very Italian, yeah.
Very Italian.
And he's like, I will do it, Papa. I will kill the Thor.
No problem.
Right.
Easy peasy.
Pizza
And then
pie.
Pizza pie. And then the second post-credit scenes at the very, very end, Jane arrives in Valhalla, which made her dying easier to take afterwards because it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, well, she's still somewhere,
Right.
She's in Valhalla, and she's greeted by Heimdall.
Yeah.
That was a very cool scene to see. Idris
I thought
Elba.
these
pretty
scenes should have been swapped.
Maybe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well for sure.
But see, the fact that we saw Valhalla is like, are we going to see more of Valhalla?
Right.
Are they
Maybe.
going to somehow be able to be involved in the next film? I mean, look, let's not. Here's the other thing: we're getting a fifth Thor movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thor will return.
Uh-huh.
I really thought that Thor was dying in this movie.
Yeah.
You had me. Well, a Thor did die.
A Thor did die.
Thor did die.
They really fooled us all because we thought Natalie Portman was coming on to replace Chris Hemsworth.
Right. Well, I
before.
remember they talked about they were going to incorporate the cancer storyline because it was in the comics.
Right.
So that really made me wonder, I wonder if they're going to kill off Jane.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So.
I didn't
fifth
see it
Thor
coming.
movie, yeah. I mean, the trailer was, Korg was saying Thor was this, Thor was. And it's like it's past tense, and at the end, Korg is talking about the mighty Thor, Jane Foster. I also liked how they called her Jodie Foster, Jane Fonda. They kept messing up her name.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That was really funny.
That was good.
And I did like that they called her the Mighty Thor because that was the name of the comic run that she did.
Yeah, there's a part where Gore says, you've lost Lady Thor. And she's like, it's Mighty Thor.
That was good.
Fun.
So that was a pretty good scene. But I really love the movie. I saw it twice. I enjoyed it just as much the second time.
Yeah.
I will be getting the Steelbook Blu-ray when it comes out, and I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd probably put this at an 8, maybe 8.5, something like that.
I would give it 9 Thunderbolts.
9 Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
So
right through Zeus's chest.
So here's the real question: we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had 6 Phase 4 movies. Where does this rank in the Phase 4 movies? We've got Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I got it right this time, Andrew.
Because you're reading it.
Yeah. Well done.
And then Doctor Strange and Thor. So what do y'all guys think? I'm thinking Doctor Strange and Thor are 1 and 2. And then maybe
I would
Black
say
Widow.
Thor's 1 for me.
For me, it's Thor, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and then Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals is last.
Eternals is probably last. I still liked Eternals though, but
no, it was fine.
Yeah,
but...
Thor's 1, Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man 3, and then probably Black Widow, just because the dad from Stranger Things was so fucking funny in it.
Oh yeah, it's
right,
Red Guardian.
Well, and not to mention what's her name, Black Widow's sister. She was great as well.
Yelena.
Oh yeah.
Yelena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
And I will say, I guess this was the 1 year anniversary of Black Widow too. So
Okay.
interesting.
Oh really?
Cool.
Or I guess this week was the 1 year anniversary for it. So
Yeah.
so interesting. Phase 4 been pretty dark so far. So hopefully we can see some cheeriness going forward.
Hopefully.
Doubtful.
But yeah, doubtful.
What's the next MCU movie to come out?
Is it Ant-Man or is it Wakanda Forever?
Wakanda, right?
Yeah, I think so.
In November.
And we still haven't even gotten like a trailer or anything for it.
We don't even
Right.
know
Because there's been delays.
we
Right?
don't even know who the new Black Panther is.
No.
We still don't
No.
know.